Hey guys, welcome back to the rundown. It's your girl V, and we're going to jump into some things. I want to talk about what's going on right now between Kendrick and Drake, of course, because, it's basically viral. Everybody is talking about it. So, earlier this week, Drake announced his Anita Max Win tour, and the internet was talking about all of the people that were anticipating the tour, and it's been a lot of buzz around it. So in this video, we're going to take a look at how right after Drake announced his tour, Kendrick and SZA launched their tour. So we want to know like what's really going on and who's behind the scenes writing the script, which I think we all know the answer to that. So let's go ahead and dive into it. So when Drake recently announced the Anita Max Win tour, set to begin the same day as Kendrick performing in the Super Bowl, of course he knew that that was going to ruffle some feathers. And, in true Drake fashion, that's exactly what happened. We covered the whole thing about the Super Bowl and Lil Wayne feeling like it was taken away from him in some previous videos, as well as the responses, how Kendrick mentioned Lil Wayne on his new album, and Lil Wayne responded like, you don't want none of this. So, like I said, reports are saying that 215,000 people were waiting to buy tickets over in Australia. So things, seem to be progressing pretty well for Drake and his Anita Max tour. So I think he kind of did a play on words, basically saying that he really does. He need a max win. He needs to win. He needs to get back on top of wherever he considered that he was, because his reputation has kind of took a hit. And he does have that whole lawsuit going on with UMG. So he's being smart and continuing to fulfill his contract obligations at the same time, instead of sitting around stressed or waiting for things to get back on track with his record label. Because, we all saw that new appeal that's been filed concerning that XXX. We're not going to get into that, but it seems like some things are popping up. We know how the industry does when you're not cooperating with what they want you to do. We seen that with Kanye West. I mean, every time he make a dollar, some new lawsuits pop up. And I would love to know, who is really like behind all of that stuff. I mean, we can guess, but it would be nice if those people, were exposed. So anyway, we're going to just have to keep an eye on how his tour goes, because we saw what also happened with Nicki Minaj. Her tour was sabotaged because she was trying to break some big records, and it looked like her biggest concert date over in Europe, it was sabotaged. That was that day that she was not taken into custody, but she was detained by the authorities overseas. And she recorded the whole thing, so we saw that play out online. But Drake is just going to have to keep his eyes open for all of the little funny business, that people try to do, because those people are about that life. If they can't control you or profit off of you, it is a problem. We saw what happened with Michael Jackson, Prince, Whitney Houston, and a lot of other people that we've been talking about in these recent videos that we have been releasing. So Drake also had some additional shows that got added to his Australian tour dates, because, he's getting a great response over there apparently. So that's good for him. I think he's strategically mapping out his footsteps with his album and tour, making sure it's big talk around it globally, because he has a lot of making up to do, I guess, as far as like his reputation or whatever. So, he's gotten started with that, trying to, increase his value back up to, I guess, wherever it was before the whole beef started. So we can't talk about Drake without mentioning Kendrick and SZA's upcoming tour, because they came out right behind him launching their own joint tour, which I think caught everybody off guard, because I don't think like neither one of these artists should need the other artists to tour unless they're aiming for like bigger venues. I don't know. If you know something, let me know down in the comments. because a lot of people are speculating about this, but it was just, I don't know, kind of strange that they decided to do a joint tour. Um, what I do know is that these artists should be careful with who they are aligning themselves with and their brands, because some things you just can't take back. But I can imagine it's the labels pulling the strings, and because Drake sings and raps, I imagine they want to put Kendrick in front of the same types of audiences, with SZA, being in tow, I suppose. I don't know. I'm still trying to, figure out the connection, other than they were both on TDE, which, that's obvious, and they're cool, but, like, they've never toured before. So, it's just kind of interesting. Some people were also speculating that Kendrick has released his masculine album and he'll be releasing a more feminine tone album before they actually go out on tour. So I don't know. People are saying all kinds of things of why they would put them two together, but I guess we'll have to stay tuned to see what's going on with that. People are also saying at the same time that Jay-Z also wants SZA to release in December to take the attention away from Nicki Minaj, who is also supposed to be launching her hiatus project. Kendrick Lamar recently rained on her release date when he released his new album on the same date that she was, doing her 10th anniversary album. And, nobody owns any particular date, but because, record sales and business and monetary gain off the music business is so scarce lately, a lot of artists just show other artists, a certain level of respect when they know that, they're going to be, releasing something. They kind of move around that date out of respect. But that doesn't seem to be the case here, because, they've been trying, or somebody has been trying to get this whole Young Money against Kendrick and whoever. They've been trying to put that particular tone in the atmosphere, because obviously Young Money has been running the game for the longest time, and they've been doing it quite well. So I'm supposing, that people want to take them out of that position. They've been trying for the longest, because, we saw what happened in 2024. We saw what happened previously to that with Nicki and Cardi. Drake hasn't really had any strong competition. He's just been dominating, period. He went into the pop star lane to kind of even make his brand even bigger. And, a lot of people are mad that they are not eating off of the Young Money artists. Like Jay-Z, he did try to sign Lil Wayne once upon a time, and Wayne ended up using Jay-Z's offer as leverage to get an even better offer from Birdman. I think that was around the time that Jay-Z paid Lil Wayne's taxes, and a lot of fans felt like Lil Wayne should be loyal and grateful, to Jay-Z forever and a day. But obviously, he paid them taxes to kind of, get in good with Lil Wayne, or possibly, sign him. He wants the artist. He wants to, control the biggest artist, the biggest black artist, in the business, and be that hip hop mogul that he's always tried to be. So, that is a narrative that, has been circling around for years. And it's not really a narrative, it's what happened. It's the truth. I guess you can't say Lil Wayne finessed him. It's something that he offered, but who knew that he had an ulterior motive? And if he did have an ulterior motive, Lil Wayne finessed him then. So, it is what it is. So a lot of people continue to ask, like, what does Jay-Z have to do with this? And once again, I'm gonna have to spell it out for you. Jay-Z, he still has that $300 million deal, $200 million deal with Live Nation, and he's not a touring artist. So I guess part of his position may be to wrangle in the entertainment and take profit or benefit off of them touring, and him acting as the business executive. And we remember that once upon a time ago, Jay-Z was trying to get Drake on board to Tidal. And Drake took that offer and went and negotiated an even better offer with Apple Music and leveled up his bag and turned Jay-Z down. It's also rumored that Drake has turned Jay-Z down for the Super Bowl a few times. So, I'm sure that didn't leave a good taste in Jay-Z's mouth, because they are used to getting what they want out of everybody. So I was on social media, actually on X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it, and I ran across this post by a user on Twitter, and it says, "I'd hate to be the person, but nobody is exaggerating when they say Sean Carter be behind a lot of bullshit. First, he gave Kendrick a slot at the Super Bowl that he dangled in front of Wayne's face," which we all saw Lil Wayne hanging out with Jay-Z at his Fanatics event or launch at the 50/50 Club a week before the Super Bowl spot was launched. And Kendrick Lamar, was awarded the title. Y'all remember kind of what happened. So this person is saying that now Cash App is sponsoring Kendrick's tour. Jay-Z sits on the board of directors of Block, the company that owns Cash App. Also, Jack Dorsey, the main owner of Cash App and close friend of Jay-Z, was subbing Drake on Twitter earlier this year during a beef. Like, what is this thing with Jay-Z's and Beyonce's friends and family chiming in to speak on their behalf? Like, what is that? Like, they can't speak for themselves, or does anybody need to speak at all? Like, that is just so weird. A lot of artists, when they go up to receive their awards, they thank Beyonce. For what? Mama Tina is always chiming in on Beyonce's behalf. And we've seen Steve Stout, what's that man's name on the sports? I can't think of his name. And we've just had different people. Fat Joe has chimed in for Jay-Z. We've had, I think it's Stephen A. He's chimed in for Jay-Z. Like, what is this? Watchdogs that keep coming out the blue, chiming in for Jay-Z and Beyonce like they, owe them something. Of course, you speak up for your friends, because we see other celebrities doing it. But it's just wild. What is that about? Hopefully we'll find out at some point. I mean, other than loyalty, it's just, I don't know. I don't know. But anyway, this person is also saying that outside of Jack Dorsey, subbing Drake and whatnot out of the blue, he's now sponsoring, the tour with Kendrick and SZA. So he goes on to, talk about some other things. But in doing so, we got to remember that Jack Dorsey is the one that Jay-Z sold Tidal to back in the day. And, a lot of drama came out. Like Nicki Minaj was one of the artists that was saying that she didn't get paid off of that deal. They tried to get her to sign some contract and take less than what she deserved. So she never signed it. And it also came with an NDA. Like, what is there to be quiet about? Like, why, the whole thing around that was weird. So in looking into this, I went online and kind of Googled it, and it says, why did Jack Dorsey buy Jay-Z's failed music service? Because remember, it had came out that they had inflated the streams, and I think it was some projects that Beyonce and a couple of artists only released, that was Tidal exclusive, and come to find out, allegedly, that the streams were inflated and pumped up. So the stakeholders, or the stockholders, they ended up suing Jack Dorsey because they felt like, they got scammed. Why would you put us into an investment that was failing and that had fraudulent, streams or what have you? I think Kanye West kind of spoke on that back in the day. I would have to look for that interview or video or what have you. But, a few people kind of spoke on that situation. In true fashion, it looks like nothing has changed. So, it comes out that the case ended up being dismissed against Jack Dorsey because the judge, I guess, ruled that he just made a bad business decision, that it wasn't intentional. But that was just like very interesting that you would step in to save him, or like, because I think he made about 300 million off of that. Why would you pay 300 million for something that was failing? So what happened to the Coral Springs police officers' pension money? Who knows? But evidently it was confiscated, and those two men went on about business. So Jack Dorsey, this person also had posted a clip of an interview where he was talking about, and Jack Dorsey, just a little backstory, he used to be the owner of Twitter as well, and he still owns some shares in it. And it was always a beef between the Democrats and the Republicans about limiting, people's speech and all of the different agendas, nonsense that was going on Twitter that wasn't real or that was unfair or something like that. So I'm gonna read this post. It says, now all of a sudden there are so many automated tweets about Kendrick, Drake, Nicki, and TDE versus Young Money. Jack, who still holds the third largest investment in Twitter, by his own admission, says that there are Twitter pages ran by multiple people with agendas to push narratives, and that bots have a voice on Twitter, and he wants to keep it that way. So now, after they've set up the business moves behind the scenes to get a beef going and use Nicki and Drake for press, which, anytime the female rappers want some press, they definitely mention Nicki's name. You even have businesses now mentioning Nicki Minaj, trying to get some traction and flow in the algorithm. It's crazy. So they had bots and the agenda pushers on Twitter, the app they're owning to push the TDE versus Young Money beef all of a sudden. Because Kendrick, he did mention Lil Wayne on his album Out of the Blue, to kind of bring that thing full circle. Like Nicki had already chimed in and set Jay-Z straight, because I ain't gonna say nobody has ever come out, because 50 Cent has come out, Cameron has come out, and a few other people, not Kerry Washington, but Kerry Hilson kind of came out and kind of alluded to being blacklisted, by the Carters, but she kept that kind of to a minimum, as far as, a lot of people felt like they have been wrong or blacklisted behind the scenes, behind these people. So, sabotaging careers and et cetera, et cetera. Nicki had cut loose at one point on Twitter and just kind of aired it out. And then a lot of people that were already, not feeling the Carters came out about the Leah stuff, them killing Aaliyah, Michael Jackson, Prince, and, a host of others. I'm gonna have to say that's allegedly, but I'm just telling y'all what the people were saying about them. But even right here, Nicki was talking about denying a young black man what he rightfully put into the game for no reason but your ego. Your hatred for Birdman, Drake, and Nicki got you punishing Lil Wayne. Lil Wayne, the GOAT. Nola was good. Eminem still stood firm on having 50 Cent come out, a Caucasian man. This shit is sad. House Negroes, things, but it's good for them. No loyalty. Well, them niggas will keep sunning you. I guess basically, I don't know if she was kind of saying that to Lil Wayne, like, you need to stand up and air out what's really going on, or you're not going to get your respect, or, only she knows where she was going with that. But I guess she got, pissed off to the point where, she just let it rip. And Jay-Z's friends did chime in, and she handed them their ass as well. Because, like, what are you chiming in for? Stephen A. Steve Stout, what did you have to do with this? You don't need to be, speaking on this. You're not signed with anybody. None of these are your artists. You just came out of the blue speaking on the matter on something that has nothing to do with you. So she cleared everybody, as she should. So that went down. And I think he may still
New Orleans, you don't get low,
because that set off a whole wave of people tired of being afraid of him and Beyonce, afraid of being sabotaged. But it was mainly the fans, which they don't have nothing on them. So you can't shut them up. They won't allow that talk on Instagram because I think they tied in with, Mark Zuckerberg as well. But on TikTok, you can't control the narrative on TikTok. People, drug them for filth on TikTok. They drug them on Instagram in their comments as well and unfollowed. So, that's out there. And it's every time they get a rush of bad press, Beyonce releases a new product, a new song, a new ad, this, that, and the third. And none of that stuff is taken off. It's people just letting it sit there. So I don't know if she's going to have to go back on tour because, like I said, he has that Live Nation contract to fulfill. So he going to have to get some things shaken. Megan tried to do a tour to compete with Nicki, and that, it didn't go so well. A lot of those tour dates got canceled. The stadiums were half empty. I think they chose too big of venues. But they just kind of threw her on out there without the build up, without the new album or the preparation. I don't know if she was the guinea pig, but her career has really suffered behind all of the moves that they're making. Yes, she's continuing to get brand deals, but her public favor and consumption of music, it's just not there. People just are not feeling her behind the Tory Lanez thing, behind all of the music sounding the same, behind, being caught in lies and the constant victim narrative. People are just not feeling that. I think in 2025, things are going to be shifting into a whole new, era where people going to have to come with something different, something truthful, something authentic. Hopefully all of this botting, well, I think all of the artists, use the botting and the boost, to get their career going. That's part of marketing. But if you're using botting to sabotage other artists and create a narrative that's not true, other than you trying to boost up your own music or do good for yourself, then, there's a problem with that, because that's called lying, in a bad way. That's not marketing. If you sabotaging other people to get where you need to be, which is a narrative, that some of these people have, then what does that make you? You're not on top if you have to sabotage the competition. And that's something that 50 Cent was talking about in his interview today. Like, I think he was outselling Jay-Z when they were both out at the same time. And a lot of people were saying he was never the number one artist. They've just had the big enough news and press to flood the airwaves to make it look like they are bigger than what they are. And that's not right. It's okay for you to do that for yourself, but when you start sabotaging other people in the process, that is where the problem comes in. So I'm gonna close this out with playing one of my favorite clips from Cameron and Mace, and they just lay it out there on the table the same way that 50 Cent do.
It's in New Orleans. You don't get Lil Wayne. That's what we doing? There's no reason why Lil Wayne should not be performing the Super Bowl. There's one person who's stopping this. I know, it's not really a secret. Lil Wayne had a problem with somebody before who's kind of part of the organization running it. This is payback. Who's that? Who's Lil Wayne artist? Drake.
Yeah,
this
at this age is crazy.
It's crazy, yeah. Bro, it's ridiculous. Like, Lil Wayne not.
And there you have it. They're not happy about Lil Wayne not performing, and I don't think that's any shade to Kendrick. I think it's more about Lil Wayne's legacy. Kendrick is obviously, deserving, as most performers are deserving, if that's their dream to, represent on that particular stage. Everybody is deserving whose dream that is, but the argument is about Lil Wayne and the work that he has put in that industry. He has killed it. Him and his artists have killed it for over a decade, ran it, and nobody has come close. So I want to know what you guys think. Let me know down in the comments. This is a new format that I am trying, and I will talk to you next time. Don't forget to like and subscribe and share this with a friend.